Who the fuck thought it would be a good idea to give Misha Green the Tomb Raider series for 2021? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is your girl Krow, and I just have stumbled on some astoundingly fucked up news. I mean, it's really fucked up. Wow. Hollywood sure as hell likes to move fast on their garbage. They really love to move fast. I mean, they really, really love to move fast. This has got to be the most upsetting thing I've ever seen in my entire life. So if anybody's ever seen the news or has seen the news, it is come to my attention that Misha Green will be directing the new Tomb Raider reboot. Wow. This is going to be a dumpster fire on wheels for so many fucking reasons, besides the fact that she horribly failed at Lovecraft Country, in my opinion. And it's going to be it's how do you call it? It's going to be a failure for a lot of reasons. So yeah, but welcome everybody. Welcome to the show. This is your girl Krow. I'm just so disappointed. I'm here to rant on movies, books, more. Like, subscribe. Every little bit helps. I am just fucking appalled at this point. I'm appalled. I'm very appalled. Shocked, appalled, disgusted. I kind of wish somebody would beat my legs in with a lead pipe so I don't have to run to any film to watch this. But we are in pre-COVID, so I probably would still have to watch this. Well, not pre-COVID. We're in full-blown COVID. So we're all going to probably be subjected to have to watch this on our streaming services because the movie theaters are still not open. Lord Jesus. Oh God. I'm sorry. I'm just getting this news just makes me just want to say a lot of things. So I'm going to be honest with you. This movie is going to fail for so many goddamn reasons. First of all, it's Misha Green fucking behind this shit. This is the bitch that literally just got finished literally sacrificing a white woman who tried to help her black distant relatives for no, who still is painted the villain. This is the chick that does colorism, fat phobia, homophobia, in a listing of all kind of things. So we're gonna have literally a homophobic hotep who is also fat phobic and colorist directing this film. That's already strike one. Strike two, I'm a gamer myself. I've been gaming for as long as I can remember. As long as I could hold a control stick or a controller, I have been gaming. So we're talking about 26 to 27 years under my damn belt of me playing video games. And while I enjoyed the reboots of the Tomb Raiders, and I really seriously enjoyed it, I don't want to see this shit be made into a movie. I mean, by my personal standard, I could barely stomach Angelina Jolie doing the Tomb Raider franchise. I could barely stomach that. But she still did a good damn job. And two, they're doing the reboots. So it's like, nigga, nobody asked for that. Nobody asked for that. At all. And, how do you call it? To say that she's gonna make anything good out of this? No, she's not. Because the situation of it is, it's the universal rule if anybody's ever been a gamer or anything like that. It's a universal rule that we all know that video games being converted into movies, it never ends out well. it always ends up well. We can give a list from Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, Hitman, Doom. I mean, the list goes on. Resident Evil, for Christ's sakes. The list goes on and on and on of the movies that have been made from video games and flopped tremendously. I mean, it's like literally a list. I think even some of them won Razzles, which Razzles are the worst fucking films in history. I mean, we could even go on that kind of plight. And the situation of it is that makes it a lot more annoying is we know Misha Green doesn't have a good directive. We know she does not have a good directive. This is going to be a walking trash bin on wheels and set on fire and then dumped with nuclear waste. It's going to be that bad. I know it's going to be that bad. I know it's going to be that bad. I don't pray that it's going to be that bad, but I know it is because I want to root for Misha Green so well, despite her garbage, because me as a black woman, how do you call it? I want to root for her as a black woman, but a lot of me is like, no. Like, this isn't gonna work. And the situation of it is Misha Green is directing about a white woman who digs up relics from the past and puts them in museums. I mean, let's be quite honest. Didn't we not learn anything from Killmonger on fucking like Black Panther? Didn't we not know anything? But there's a lot of reasons why this is gonna fail outside of Misha Green. I mean, a lot of videos and a lot of movies. Why I say videos like we're in VHS. A lot of movies miss the point with video games. I mean, the only one that really got it good was Mortal Kombat. And we're talking about Mortal Kombat back in the day. 1990s version Mortal Kombat. They're the only live action film that got it right. And you can still watch it today and they'll still get it right. And the situation of it is with movies being converted from video games, a lot of directors miss the point. I mean, a lot of movies miss the point. Case in point, Hitman. Hitman is basically based on a stealth game. When you watch all the Hitman series, both of them in all their horrible glory, everything goes bad. The mission goes bad. Then you get these big gimmicks that are explosion-y. When really Agent 47 is a guy who relies on stealth. So it's kind of like in a lot of ways, they change these factors and they miss the whole point of video games. Misha always misses the point in her story. This is a prime example that she misses the point. She literally does not get the point to the book that Matt Roth had produced on Lovecraft Country. So the situation of it is she doesn't know who her villains are at all on the show. She does not know who her villains are on the show at all on Lovecraft Country. So how am I going to expect her to know a video game like Lara Croft and know who her villains are? Like, how am I going to expect that? How am I going to expect that? So that's already strike one. She doesn't know. And I'm just literally taking this apart as much as I can from her horrendous showrunner kind of ship on Lovecraft Country and comparing it to what she's going to do right now. She doesn't get the point of her stories that she makes. She often starts off really good, and then in the middle it falls to shit, and then in the middle it becomes a whole dumpster fire and a whole nuclear waste site at the end. It really, I mean, and also too, I could say the same for other directors who have done video games to movies, and that's fine. It's fine. But with her, she got the loudest mouth in the room, so it's kind of like I'm looking at you, kind of. I mean, your films and your shows have the loudest echo in the room without making any sense. It's so weird. It's kind of like her films and shows. Misha Green's films and shows are kind of like drunk people when they get too drunk and they get too loud and they get too rowdy, and I should know because I do drink, but her films are kind of like a drunk person who's really loud and in the street. The rambling makes no sense, but you know it needs help. They're trying to make sense, but it's just like, oh my God, you don't know what to do with a drunk person. It's like, what are they saying? They're so loud. Do they need help? Do they not need help? Are they doing good or are they not doing good? That's literally her films are like drunk people. They really are. Her films, her shows, Misha Green's films and shows, or whatever the hell it is, are like drunk people on the street. Loud, rambling, and doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't make any sense. So she's going to miss completely the point of this movie on Tomb Raider. She's going to miss the point. It's literally going to be the point that she misses the point. And if they are going on the second video game, because the first one was based on the first video game, if they're going on the Rise of the Tomb Raider, where she's in Siberia and she finds the Fountain of Youth and all that kind of stuff, or she finds this village, because if anybody's played that, it is Tomb Raider. There is I think there's Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider, and I believe it's Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Shadow of the Tomb Raider is the last one, I believe. Don't comment me. It's been a while since I played those video games, the reboots, but I know it's Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider, and I believe it's Shadow of the Tomb Raider. With Shadow of the Tomb Raider, she's in a jungle or some shit like that. So that's all I can tell you. The bitch is in a jungle. Okay. But I think I hope she has time to play the second video game so she could, how do you call it? So she can actually understand, to be quite honest. And the situation of it is, we're getting this woman to try to tell us history when really she doesn't even understand a good concept of history herself. And this is the problem of it. The situation with Tomb Raider is, it's a point action video game that's a shooter, and the stories are, the stories from the reboots are rooted in historical fact and compelling stories. There's horror, survival, and perseverance that needs to be in Misha's film, but it's in the video game, and she's gonna miss the point of that. But also too, moving on to the next point, besides her missing that whole point, the talent is not enlisted right. This is another thing that video games suffer from a lot, is talent not being enlisted right. I mean, we can point from The Rock to fucking Vin Diesel. We can point for so many things, but Alicia Vikander, who was in the last Tomb Raider, how can I say it like this? She was like wet cardboard drying. Alicia is like wet cardboard drying. She did nothing for me on the first Tomb Raider film. She did nothing for me, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm literally telling you how this girl literally did nothing for me. She was so boring. She was so boring. She really was boring. I could not stand it. She was boring as hell. First of all, her forehead too big for that ponytail. I'm sorry. I ain't even trying to shit on the poor girl, but no. This is pretty much annoying. It really is. And it got 51% on Rotten Tomatoes. And on Metacritic, the first film got 48%. And then on IMDb, it got 6.3 out of 10. It barely managed to make half the point. It barely managed. And to be quite honest, it didn't, It didn't make a good impression. It really didn't. I mean, on opening weekend, it made $23 million. And on gross in the USA, it made 58. But their budget was 90 million to like $106 million. So they didn't even make back what they spent on the damn film. If you on the reboot, and all for a lackluster character. And like I said, she's young, it's good, and it's no knockoff to her. With Alicia Vikander, it's not a knockoff to Alicia. It's just, how do you call it? She doesn't work for me. She doesn't work for me. I mean, if they had got Camilla Ludington, who is the original voice actress of the Tomb Raider reboot movies, or even if they would have got Angelina Jolie, I think I could have dealt with it a little bit more. But I do know that these Tomb Raider films are based on Lara Croft in her younger years before she got seasoned to become Angelina Jolie, which is so funny, but it's so weird. They're going backwards. They're going pretty much backwards in the forwards kind of thing. But I respect it. I think it's pretty good to tell an origin story before they tell, I think it doesn't matter to me if they tell it after the origin story, after or before, so long as it makes sense. But I mean, I really think they could have got Camilla Ludington to replace Alicia, or I don't think I'm saying her name right, Vikander. I'll just call her Vikander. I really think that they should have got Camilla over that, because the situation with Camilla has done she's done the physical work for the video game, and she does the voice acting work. So I think it would have been good to have her. And I think that was a missed opportunity. Also, too, she kind of does look like Laura. So it's a missed opportunity in so many ways that they missed to book her instead of the other one. Like I said, she's like wet cardboard, and that's how it is. Now, mind you, as to go back to Misha's not that bad on her cast, on her cast and crew members, so long as we don't mysteriously find Journey in the goddamn film. I think we should be fine. I have to say, Misha did very well at approving her cast members for Lovecraft Country. Jonathan Majors, like I said, he's like a wet rag too. I don't really deal with him. He just was like, he was like a really dampening performance. He just looks good for muscles, and that's just about it. But Journey was overacting like a motherfucker, and I don't know why she did that, but it's obvious that they have a working relationship, kind of, and she's trying to be like, how do you call it? She kind of trying to be like Tim Burton and fucking Johnny Depp, like that working relationship with her. And it's just like, a director always has their favorite actor or actresses. But so long as Journey doesn't pop up anywhere, I really do trust her and the casting crew, hopefully. Or I trust Misha to tell the casting crew, or the casting crew who casts, to like, oh, this choice sucks. I hope I trust her for that, because she didn't do bad on Lovecraft Country. She got Woolamy on there, and she got Abby Lee, and by far that was a good ass goddamn choice. So on that part, connecting it to how video game or directors don't list the right people for video games when they make movies, it's pretty goddamn good. I think I really feel like confident that Misha will choose the right cast, or keep an eye on the casting crew. I really feel like she will, but let's hope that she keep that same energy for the writing. All she really has to do is just follow the goddamn video game. That's all she has to do. She does it right, she can follow the video game. But if Misha does some extra shit, it's not gonna work out. Which leads me to the third point. Video games and people who direct video games, they always change the source material. Always. It's like, why do you do it? Why do you do it? Why do you change it? This is why a lot of video games fail, is because of the casting. It's not because of casting, excuse me. It's because of source material being changed. And it changes a lot. And Misha is very, very guilty of this. it's appalling almost to a certain extent. She does not follow the books. She doesn't follow the books. And the changes that she makes sometimes are very good, but the follow through is completely horrid. There's no way you can really see yourself rooting for Misha in a lot of ways because her follow through is crap. It's like she has it's like Jordan Peele with the last movie, Us. It's just like it was good. He cast it right, but it fell through horribly because it's like it started strongly and it just went downhill from there. And it's a lot of those kind of problems that Misha suffers from as well because she changes the source material. Like, I'm literally talking about Lovecraft Country at this point. I mean, she diverged from Matt Ruff's original vision of it. She really did, to make this white woman named Christina, who was replaced, who been replaced by the original villain in the book by Matt Ruff of Lovecraft Country. She replaced the main character, who was a male on the book, with a female character, made us care about this female character, and went off canon really badly, and then ran everything into the ground. And she literally made Christina the way she did so she can literally tell a message about people who are homosexual. And it's the situation of it being like, okay, you went out your way to make Christina Braithwaite an actual real character over Caleb Braithwaite in the books to be, I don't know, to have her be gay, I guess, and then kill her. Makes no damn sense. So, Misha's probably gonna fuck up basically on fucking up on the source material alone. That's what's really gonna really shoot her in the foot, to be quite honest. If she follows the source material but then puts a little bit of her liberties in it, she should be fine. But knowing Misha, she's going to put this whole situation and possibly make it about race. I'm pretty sure she is. Now, as a black woman, I don't mind my stuff being I don't mind too much woke culture, as long as it's done accurately. And mind you, we are talking about Lara Croft, who is a treasure hunter, who is deeply rooted in historical fact. And it's her journey being a compelling story. And with Misha's going to run off the fact that she's going to probably make it really, really pro-black and very hotep. And it's going to get on my fucking nerves. It really is. If she does that and I find out and I watch this movie, which, mind you, I'm going to be extremely inebriated and very drunk when I watch this movie, because if I find out she pulls that bullshit and she strays off from the source material to write woke shit that she doesn't even understand about, then we're going to have a problem. And mind you, Misha Green is not really good at knowing much about history, because yeah, she doesn't know as much about history as she thinks she does. And that's the whole point of it. And I'm sick of Hollywood trying to boost this black woman up who clearly does not know anything about history to make her their token black person. Like Jordan Peele. They clearly do not know shit about history. It's obviously told, and they're making these people directors of historical shit that they have no idea about. So she's probably going to ruin it canonically. She's going to ruin the canon. I don't even know where they're going from this. I pray to God that this is going off of Rise of the Tomb Raider. I pray that it is going off of Rise of the Tomb Raider, because if it's not, it's fucked. It's fucked. If she goes off and does her own thing, it's fucked. It really is. Like, there's no coming back from it. It's going to be some weird woke shit. It's going to be Lara Croft somehow feeling guilty for putting shit in a museum. And yeah, and there's probably going to be an asshole named Killmonger in there. That's going to come in and be like, it doesn't belong in a museum. It's probably going to be that. It's going to be weird. And then somehow Journey might place herself in. So you see the fuckery, right? You see the fuckery. Okay, I'm just letting you guys know how it's going to be fucked up. So yeah, that's gonna happen. That's gonna happen. So it's gonna be funny, but that's how it's gonna happen. Which leads me to my next point. They're gonna go, what makes video games fail, and where I think Misha will probably fall into this trap in, they're gonna go for more flash and more glamour, and they're gonna put style over substance. This is the main thing that a lot of people are just not into when it comes to video games being converted into movies, is that they're gonna put more glamour and more flash on things, and it's not going to be a completed and well-rounded story that comes full circle. Misha's not super guilty of this, but it's one of the plights of all video games, and if she can avoid this, it might help her out. It may help her out. It might help her out, but it's not gonna do that. It's not gonna still stop her from relying on gimmicks. It really isn't. It really is not going to not stop her from relying on a cheap gimmick or a cheap tactic. So hopefully, Lord willing, she will put more substance than style, but she has to balance it out. She can't go too much with substance and trying to tell her own little fucked up narrative, and then like go too deep into substance and then not balance out the style and the flash and the bangs. Because to be quite honest with you, and I'm just saying to be quite honest with you about when it comes to a lot of this, when it comes to a lot of the Tomb Raider films, it is a lot of style and flash and banging, and it's like Lara Croft is a badass. She's a badass, from Underworld to Tomb Raider Legend. I mean, she's a badass. And I didn't even mind the first Tomb Raider. The first Tomb Raider was really fucking good. The first of the reboot, the 2013 one video game, was a good reboot. And if I were to go back on the show, or excuse me, on the movie with Angelina Jolie, Cradle of Life, all that, it's pretty fucking good. I'm not gonna sit here and lie. It's pretty damn good. And there'll be a new Tomb Raider film, game coming up called Tomb Raider Reloaded. Now, do I know much about it? I probably do, but that's for another video. But it's gonna have me move on to number 5. Relying on gimmicks. Video games that are converted into movies always rely on gimmicks, and they're usually cheap. And they're usually jacked up. And it's a lot of the reason why it turns us off on video games. Is because the gimmicks are cheap. I mean, if you take Doom, and they did the first person shooter, it was horrible. It was horrible. It just didn't do anything for anybody. I mean, there's also to a lot of other situations as well too, where the gimmicks are just horrible. I wish I could, wow, it's so much. It's cheap gimmicks. And Misha has, to get down to the point of it, Misha's been known to use cheap gimmicks in her shows. Now, I'm not talking about Underground or anything else, but I know for a fact, watching Lovecraft Country, and this being my first, how can you call it? This being my first look of her, she's somebody who's going to rely on a cheap gimmick. And the example of it is Jihad being the key to killing Christina towards the end on Lovecraft Country. It literally was one of those situations where that was the cheapest gimmick you could ever fucking put in a show. She literally was the Dos Mechana for everything. Like, that was it. That she was the one that was going to solve everything together. And it was stupid. It was just too dumb how stupid that was about. And mind you, Tomb Raider has a world that's already set on its own. It has a world where unexplainable things happen to Lara Croft, and magical things may happen to Lara Croft that can't be explained by just simply digging a hole and being an archaeologist. And if Misha puts this cheap gimmick on here, it's going to complete everything. So if, let's just take a look at the 5 facts. If she misses the point of the video game, if she doesn't enlist the right talent, if she doesn't go to the source material, if she goes for more flash and glamour over style and over substance, and if she relies on gimmicks, if she checks all 5 of those lists, this is a flop. And like I'm saying, no, I feel bad for her as a black woman, because it's kind of like people are setting her up for failure. Because everybody knows that about 70, not even 75, about 95% of films that came from video games to film, they've all flopped. Can anybody name one good literally comment in the comment section about, just comment just for me if you can. Comment in the comment section below if you have seen a video game converted into a movie that has ended well and that has been critically acclaimed, or at least seen as decent. Because I can't think of anything besides Mortal Kombat from the 1990s. I can't think of anything other than that. So if Misha hits all 5 of these points, she's doomed from the start. It's kind of like a railroad after that. Once they miss the whole point of the video game, it literally, the other stuff follows, and it follows really much in order the more people look at it. But like I said, I want to root for Misha because she's a black woman experiencing and experimenting with all these different she's experimenting with all these different things. But I really feel like sis is going to be trying to tell some weird racially charged story that I don't want to fucking hear, and putting that on Lara Croft, because if she does, it's going to probably be very much known that she has a problem with white women, and it's probably going to be known. If she ruined Lara Croft more than what she's been ruined, we're going to have a problem, and it's probably going to be some shit like that. But that's all my concerns about this dumpster fire of news, and it's kind of horrible that I had to put it on Black History Month, or kind of around after we're just gotten finished up with it. But I love that black women are making more strides, and she's making more strides to be, a bigger, badder person and make her strike out into the world. But Misha, please just go back to doing underground, or I don't know, do power or something. Just do something, because this isn't working for you. Nerd culture does not work for you at all. It doesn't help you. You're not helping anybody else with it. But that's all I have to say with this news that I didn't just receive it. I just had to collect my thoughts on it, because I've been new about it for a minute. But Lord Jesus, please. But that's all I have to say for everybody. I know this video ran off a little bit long. I try to correlate my thoughts a little bit more calmer, because I really wanted to freak out and say that this is just a dumpster fire. Lord Jesus, shoot it, kill it in its crib. I really wanted to say so much of that, but yeah, I can't. But if you guys disagree with me, if you think it's going to be good and you think she's going to do well, comment on it. I'm not going to argue about it. I'm still going to give it a shot. I'm still going to do a follow-up movie on this. I'm going to do a follow-up movie, especially after I watch it. Because I have to do a follow-up movie after watching this. It has to. But comment, like, subscribe. Like I said, shout out to my editor Carrie. Shout out to Yashu's Playground, because I'm always doing Yashu's Playground based on the fact that right now she reviews movies as well too. But then as well too, I talked about Lovecraft Country, and I totally have to give her props on that one too. But yeah, y'all, so comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later when the film comes out. Okay, thank you. Bye.